is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
This is Talkin Cowboys. Streaming live from the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco.
First down, handoff, Elliott plowing to the goal line. Barry, sacked by Lawrence. Prescott keeps it, and he bangs it in for the touchdown.
Now, your hosts, Mickey Spagnola, Rob Phillips, Everson Walls, and Bill Jones.
And that was more like it on Sunday at AT&T Stadium. And we are back here in the SWBC Mortgage Studios. Super Bowl Bill, along with Mickey Spagnola, Rob Phillips, and Everson Walls after a 44-21 win over the Los Angeles Rams. And now, what a week we have in front of us. But let's talk about Sunday. That's more like it, right, Mickey?
Absolutely. It's like, where you been, guys?
Can we just dive into that and just talk about that, like the whole break, through the break? I mean, this is fun. This is fun. I got up this morning. It felt like Christmas morning. Feeling good, not depressed. The weather outside cannot depress me today.
Not
That's
today.
right.
Not
Even if
today.
it's cold, right?
Even if it's freezing, yes.
Drizzly, gray.
What Jerry say after the game? Just what the doctor ordered?
Yes, absolutely.
For him, too, because I think he said, I think on the quote sheet was, they outplayed my expectations for this game.
Wow.
Because, not that he doesn't have faith in this team, but I think the Chicago loss was just a gut punch for everybody.
I just don't think we realized, and you guys y'all brought it to my attention last week, having that rest. That's kind of what I was so naive to that. I think you brought it up, Rob, about the 3 games in what was it, 12 days? Was it 12 days?
Yeah, and then if you look over the course of the whole
4
month.
and 19, actually.
And then,
okay.
Yeah.
4 and 19.
And 3 on
Five
the
of
road.
the- five of the month
We were
of
talking
November.
about how unremarkable they looked. The body language wasn't there. And as soon as you guys said that, it just kind of clicked in my head. I don't know if that was the reason, but it seems like they just needed a break. An extended break, not just a week. They needed that 10 days. And what I saw was it wasn't Philly. It wasn't that Philly game when they came out of their first 3-game losing streak, but it was a different team, a more energetic team. And they played with excitement. They played with confidence, because what we saw during the 3-game stretch was just a lot of guys out there that looked unsure of themselves. This was not that game. Even after the drop by Cooper, which was a big drop to me, that could have taken us back down that same road, down that same rabbit hole, and it did not. Mm-hmm. We still came back, and, hey, we talked about it. Offensive line, baby. That O-line took over this team really the way they should, and this is the team that we're accustomed to from last year, even 2 years ago.
Nobody would admit it publicly when I asked around about just getting refreshed, like this was a reboot, like you were worn out after that New England thing, and I kind of got the wink, but no one would use it as an excuse, but I think it was real. Now, we'll find out next week. Can you do this now 2 weeks in a row? Did this break?
Well, they might need another 10 days.
You're right, yeah. Can you get 10? Or maybe just having played indoors and not in BS weather like they did in New England, and able to come back and just kind of get themselves together, and not just physically probably, but mentally too. I mean, I know they say they don't hear the noise, but they hear the noise, right? Your coach is under fire. The offensive coordinator doesn't know what he's doing anymore. No one can make tackles. You missed 19 tackles. I don't know who comes up with that stat, but that's the one that's thrown around. And then in this game, you're punishing people with tackles. So what happened? How did the switch turn, right? Well, maybe there was something to that, because that's the team we thought we knew coming out of training camp.
My college coach was one of the greatest coaches ever, and he got this quote from another great coach. Fatigue makes cowards of us all. So when you're tired, whether it's mentally or physically, you're going to have problems reacting. You're going to have problems with your confidence. You're going to have a problem following through with plays. And that's what was going on with the Cowboys. All of a sudden, you got Witten.
Well,
Witten couldn't catch a cold with Ice Cube down his pants in New England. He couldn't reach for anything. All of a sudden, he's snagging like he's Gronkowski or somebody.
Or Odell Beckham Jr. or something.
Yeah, OBJ catch.
We're showing the highlight right now if you're watching, and you said it, Everson, during the week. They needed some kind of splash play, something to spark this team, and Witt said that was the first time in 16 years he has spiked a football in the end zone.
It was so awkward.
And he
it was so awkward. Like, whoa, I thought he was going to hurt himself.
But he that to me was venting all this team's frustration, and he said it after the game. Mickey, you just said it too. 3 games in 11 days, and nothing goes your way. And they just needed something to get him out of it. You're facing 3rd and 10, and here we go again. We're going to have to kick a field goal in the red zone with a new kicker.
Yeah.
We just fired our old kicker. And basically, Witt said, screw this, and made a heck of a play, and that kind of got things going.
It really did.
And Everson, to your point, I just went back quickly and reviewed, because everyone talked about the Cowboys playing on Thanksgiving Day, and the real advantage the Cowboys had back in the day playing on Thanksgiving Day was the game they played after Thanksgiving Day, which they got the long weekend, 10 days until the next game. And from 1968 through 1984, over a 17-year period, the Cowboys were 15-0 the week after Thanksgiving. They had 15 Thanksgiving Day games from 68 to 84 and were unbeaten during that time.
Wow.
And they weren't unbeaten on Thanksgiving Day itself.
I was there for some of that, yeah.
Yeah.
That was amazing. Yeah.
It was, you know what broke the streak?
What's that?
Remember that game at Cincinnati?
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my. 1985.
85.
1985.
That was
God.
the 10 days after Thanksgiving. It was like 51 to something.
Remember the big white fullback? What was his name? Killebrew?
Yes.
I was going to say Harmon, but that's the baseball player, by the way.
I just remember, what was it? What's my
It was 50 to 24.
The big offensive lineman, Montoya, that's his name?
Yeah.
I remember in my face, 20 yards downfield, and a little bitty running back your size, Brooks, was right behind him.
Right.
And I that was the worst feeling in the world. I felt like Jalen Smith.
Right.
That's why I know the feeling. The big lineman in your face, you can't do anything with those guys in your face, man.
Before the game on the pregame show, they asked me, what does it take to get this team some confidence? I said, they got to make a play. You got to make some big plays. And Witten's play, you guys just talked about, it was 3rd and 10. They're getting ready to kick another field goal, right?
Ho-hum.
And it was like, here they go again. You had the drop. Now it's going to, you drove all the way down.
With a field goal kicker, kicked the opening kickoff out of bounds.
Yeah, right. That was a great start.
Which, by the way,
about the start of this.
By the way,
start of this game.
Is there a better example of Murphy's Law than the first 2 things that happened in this team?
Oh, my God.
Right?
We were
coin
just
toss.
ready. We were ready to sink back down.
It was like, here they go again. They can't even get the coin toss right.
Unbelievable.
Oh, my God.
And then he was like, we want to kick. And then you kick it out of bounds. Unbelievable.
We'll show them. Yeah.
But they made the play, and it was somewhat of a spectacular play. Then you got the play from Tavon Austin.
Mm-hmm.
And I had looked over the first, I think I mentioned it last week, over the first 10 games, they had 47 big pass plays, 20 yards or more. In the last 3 games, they had 10. Well, in this game total, they had 7 big plays of 20 yards or more, runs, pass, whatever. And all of a sudden, it came back. It disappeared from what they were doing, almost 5 or 6 a game, and it went down to 2 or 3 a game. So
I don't care if
they
you're
made
Pollard.
plays, and you get confidence.
Yeah, I don't care if you're Pollard or if you're Zeke Elliott. You can see second effort in almost every run. Instead of going down with the arm tackle, like, oh, man, I was almost, now all of a sudden we were like breaking through. Every running play now, we're breaking through. We're not stumbling now. We're regaining our balance, and we're continuing on. I guess that's a metaphor for the rest of the season, really, because that's the way they played yesterday.
Even Zeke, when he was getting hit for what looked like a 1 or 2 yard gain, all of a sudden it was 5.
That's right. Not
he
giving
was
in.
surging forward.
That's correct.
He ran possessed. And Pollard, you can forget about this, he's not a between the tackles runner, because he broke a bunch of tackles, to your point. Jerry said after the game, one of the questions he was asked, he used the word physical 5 or 6 times. And that was their identity on Sunday with the run game and then the run defense. Antoine Woods coming back had a huge impact in the middle of the defensive line.
Sean Lee. Oh, my God. He looked like a warrior out there, just bloodied up.
That knee was
making play. That's a great shot. Yeah. I'd take that shot and I'd sign autographs on that thing forever. That was typical of how he came back. To me, that was a redeeming game for him. He's been a little bit vilified since Thanksgiving. I mean, guys catching tight ends catching one-handed passes on him. He's back there looking lost. Van Der Esch goes down. He's missing tackles. Sean Lee's missing tackles. This was the game. This was the game. This was the Sean Lee from – I don't think he played this well. I don't think he's played this well, meaning just like recognition as far as playmaking and impacting the game. It's got to be about 3 years. I mean, because he's always played well.
It's 2 years since he had an interception. And the interception reminded me of him early in his career when he picked off Peyton Manning.
Undercutting those plays.
Recognition,
dropping
guys.
into coverage.
Route recognition is what we talked about.
Yes.
Sometimes you can't be a dummy. I mean, they're setting you up with the short route underneath so you can jump that. They're going to hit it behind. You can't get around that. That's just basic offensive football against the zone. Not only did Sean Lee figure it out, I saw some dude back there with braids diving for it as well. So you got both of your middle linebackers are hungry.
So that was that wasn't Jeff Heath.
That was not Jeff Heath. No, you had two middle linebackers about 15 yards deep. Making plays on the ball, recognizing what's going on,
and delivering
have a lot of that.
Delivering some thumps too, both of them, like physical, tone-setting type of tackles early, and then a couple behind the line of scrimmage with Woods and Tank Lawrence, and all of a sudden now you got your identity back. Yeah. Somebody talked about DNA, getting your DNA back.
I think Jason mentioned it in the locker room post game,
and that's one of them for the defense. The physicality, the intensity. It was what you saw against Philadelphia. And I remember them saying after the game against Philadelphia, we had to out-physical them up front. And that's what they did. And that just happened to be the last time this is the complimentary football. That's probably the other game you can really point to that they did that.
And remember, Sean Lee didn't practice all week.
I didn't think he was going to play. I didn't think he was going to play,
actually,
period.
That was the plan, and I found out late Friday afternoon that was the plan, and they felt pretty good that he was going to play.
Okay, let's not practice him this week either.
So maybe – well, you know what? Why?
Why? Exactly.
And it was pointed – I think Ben Bloom pointed out to me that while he didn't practice, he did all the walkthroughs. He said, so if you practice, I don't know, he gave me a number of how many snaps you might get during practice, maybe 40 or so, 50, something like that. He said, but he did everything in the walkthrough, which goes over 100. Mm-hmm.
Well, he's going to be the most prepared player on the field.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about that.
Rested.
So I'm thinking,
most rested now.
And the good thing was they got a lead, and he didn't have to play half the fourth quarter. I think I looked up, he had 43 snaps.
Yeah, they took him and Jalen out in the fourth quarter.
Most of the guys came out except for the secondary. So, just go sit down.
Well, I really enjoyed the fact that the roof was closed. And the sound,
the doors were open.
No, they talk about that like it's a big deal. You're the second person to tell me that.
That's because they blew their doors off.
Yeah, is that what it was?
Oh!
Okay. Because you're the second person to tee me up there. So I just thought that the crowd themselves, the first drive,
actually surprised me.
Did it? I told you what they were going to do, man. They're going to come out. They're going to support. This is different from Texas Stadium. Remember we talked about that?
Yeah.
This is not that Texas Stadium crowd. They get the cues. When that roof is closed, they gave golf plenty of problems on their first drive.
This is more of a blue-collar crowd than what Texas Stadium
had.
I just thought everybody was fed up, and the first thing that went wrong, they were just going to turn on them. But they started right from scratch.
From the beginning. And golf's doing this.
Third
first
down,
drive.
and they're making noise.
And there weren't a ton of Rams jerseys in the crowd either. I was pleasantly surprised that
it is Los Angeles. It is Los Angeles.
Like
They also
weather
don't have a
kinda?
ton of time to
Right,
build a
guys.
fan base.
Yeah.
And
either.
whatever fan base they had in St. Louis turned on them. So that
they don't care about him anymore. They're now Cowboys fans in St. Louis.
They always
They're
were
Chiefs
Cowboy fans
Yeah.
in St. Louis, so let's be
That's
real.
right. And it was so loud that Walt Anderson couldn't hear Dak Prescott say defer. He finally said defer. Let's get into that and more. And we're going
was
to hear from
strange.
Jason Garrett
That
in
was
his
strange.
in the post-game locker room when we come back here on Talkin' Cowboys.
Essilor is a proud sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys, helping fans see more and do more with our best vision solutions. Our lens technologies reveal a world more beautiful than you can imagine. For a limited time, get the Essilor Next Gen offer. When you buy the latest generation of Transitions lenses with select Essilor lenses, you can choose a second pair of clear lenses for free with qualifying frame purchases. Restrictions apply. Find a participating eye care professional by visiting EssilorUSA.com. Essilor. See more, do more.
Ready? Okay. Give me an S. S. Give me an O. O. Give me an S. S. Give me an O. O. What's that spell?
So.
Are we gonna win?
Not if we play like we cheered.
Just okay is not okay. Whether it's cheerleaders or your wireless network, AT&T is America's best wireless network. Best network based on GWS One score September 2019.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now, you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites, plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
Do you want the most interesting, up-to-the-minute Dallas Cowboys news straight from the Star in Frisco? How about exclusive and on command? That's right, news and nuggets you can't find anywhere else. With our exclusive Cowboys content on Alexa, you can have all the answers, secrets, stories, and more. What's Stephen Jones thinking during a game? What's Joe Looney's favorite pregame meal? We take your questions to Cowboys players and coaches, and you can hear the answers directly back to you. Just say, Alexa, open Dallas Cowboys.
I'm Jay Novacek, former tight end for the Dallas Cowboys. Back in the day, I was the guy who always got the tough yards, and that's why I run with John Deere today. In fact, I have a John Deere 3025E tractor that can handle any yard work I need to do, even the tough yards way out back. So if you have 1 acre or 1,000, John Deere has the equipment that's just right for you. Visit a John Deere dealer today and run with us. We are the official tractor provider of your Dallas Cowboys.
Back to Talkin' Cowboys.
The annual Christmas at the Star, presented by Albertsons and Tom Thumb, is back at the Star in Frisco. 20-minute show electrifies the Star with a powerful mix of game day excitement and Christmas cheer every Friday and Saturday at 6 o'clock. Final 2 Fridays and Saturdays this week. Friday and Saturday, 6 o'clock. Admission and parking free. For more information on the event, visit thestarinfrisco.com. All right.
It was fair to Midland.
Powerful.
It was fair. I was better.
Punched. Powerful.
Everson gets it tomorrow. Let's hear from Jason Garrett after the game in the Cowboys locker room.
Hey, listen up. Just a hell of a job, guys. That's a hell of a job. It started on Monday when you came in, the way we practiced all week long, your mindset and your mentality to come to work. To make it a one-day season. That's what we did all week long. Then we made it a one-game season. Okay, we knew what it was going to be all about. You guys got your mind right, your spirit right, and your body right to play the way we played. Okay, we talked about recapturing the DNA of our team, about team. Team was on display today. You guys know where we are, though. You guys know where we are. We're right back at it. We talked about it all week long. This one's done. Now it's tomorrow. Yes. Tomorrow's a one-day season. Yes. Big time job, guys. Yes, sir.
So there you go, a one-game season yesterday, and this Monday, a one-game season as well. What are you going to accomplish, Mickey, in this one-game season today?
Make sure that you go over this game real quickly and make sure you correct whatever mistakes you might have made. Get the kicker out there.
Wasn't that a happy locker room?
Yeah.
God, the way they captured that just...
How about how Zeke was?
So was that music
Zeke was
playing in the
prancing
locker
to the
room,
locker
or did
room.
they put that as a music bed?
Yeah, that was the music bed. That wasn't in the locker room.
That
I'm sure there was other music being played in the locker room.
Great feeling, man. It still captured the great feeling.
But you know what? It didn't. I mean, by the time I got in there after Jason Garrett finished, I mean, most of the guys were gone. It wasn't like there was a big celebrate. Did you go in right away? It didn't look like a huge celebration going on, or
no.
I mean, but here was the key. The offensive linemen were talking. I saw Tyron Smith do an interview. Tyron Smith doesn't do interviews
with like
after
20
games.
people around him, too.
Right?
Yeah.
And he actually spoke like sentences, not just a couple words.
No grunts.
He's very shy. I mean, he just would rather not do it, and he was into it. So I thought that was a good sign.
All right. As far as the way this game started, the coin toss.
Somebody break this
Defer
down to me,
gate.
guys. Somebody break this down.
Everson was at the game, and so you did not hear what was the audio that was played during the first half on the Fox broadcast, which got the attention of the NFL officials back in New York that maybe a mistake had been made here.
When I heard it, and the first thing I heard Dak say is he said, yeah, Cowboys win the toss, your choice. And he goes, yeah, we want to kick it that way. And the hairs went up on the back of my neck. I'm going, no, you don't want to kick it. You can't say that. And then he came back, and there was a lot of commotion. And he goes, yeah, defer, and we're going to kick it that way.
Defer, play defense.
Right.
Yeah.
And for some reason, Walt Anderson
He
didn't
never
hear
heard defer. Yeah.
He heard the first thing, and I think he got flustered. And then it was like, oh my God.
Dak was so funny talking about it after the game.
Yeah, it was a great line.
What did he say?
He said we thought we'd get the adversity out of the way right away before we got on the field.
I said a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I love that. They asked him, what'd you say? I said, well, I said a little bit of everything.
And then afterwards, DeMarcus Lawrence confused the whole thing because he goes, that was on me. He goes, I was the one in the background going, kick it, kick it. We want to play defense, right? And he was saying
so
that
Dak
Jason
is hearing
wanted,
that, and he's echoing what DeMarcus
Because you
is
could just
saying.
see it on the video. I think you read Dak's lips. He said defense. Play defense.
Yeah,
or something.
play defense. And then you can see like there was some confusion, and Jason was talking to one of the officials. I don't think it was Anderson, but it was the other guy there, and they were going back and forth, and he called Dak over like, hey, what did you say? Right? And so they're kind of explaining it to him.
Is that Walt Anderson there?
That's Walt Anderson there.
That's your boy, Mick?
That's my boy.
You like him a lot, don't you? He lives around here, I think.
Go ahead, Mick. Go ahead.
Yeah.
He can
hear you
more
now.
things
He's listening right now. Tell him what you want to say.
What'd you say in the
It's
break?
not the first time. And so how about this? So this thing is going back and forth on TV now during the game because Fox came back and they played the audio.
And Mike
then
Pereira
Mike
chimed in.
Pereira chimed in and say, well, he did say defer. Now is it what he said first, or how are we going to do this? Right? And then when they came back at halftime,
that's where it got still confusing.
Aaron Andrews said, well, I talked to Jason Garrett, and he didn't know we had audio of it. And then when she talked to Sean McVay, he thought they were getting the ball. When they came out of the locker room, he was convinced they were getting the ball.
And it was important at the end of the first half, you'd like to know who's getting the ball to start the second half because it does affect strategy.
And so it was kind of up in the air until they went to the pool report there with Al Riveron in New York.
Thank God for Rule 15 for replay, Section 3, Article 9. According to Al Riveron, it says that we can get involved, replay can, as far as game administration issues. Now, he also said if you look at what happened and you see that the Cowboys actually say three different things, and then we hear at the end where they say, quote, defer. So we go ahead and look at it, and they pulled up the audio. Thank goodness for instant replay on coin tosses.
Well, and thank God, among the things that Dak said, he did slip in the word defer.
Which that's where common sense comes into play, right? Where you say defer, and that's that's what they meant. When you talk about kickoff, that's the assumption that you want the ball to start the second half.
So when it's all said and done, they were accurate.
Yeah.
But they just got there in the circuitous way.
Yeah,
right?
went around in circles, right?
Okay.
I guarantee you, Dak will not have an issue on the coin toss going forward.
First of all, we should have our stuff together, right, as we go out. Correct.
Right.
I mean,
well, it sounded like
defer
they
is the magic word.
It sounded like they might have changed their mind, like out there, unbeknownst to Jason.
That was D-Law. That was D-Law probably
D-Law
did that.
said I did it. So, we're going to play defense. We'll show them. We're going to stop them, right? So is this like the first time we've ever heard of audio replay?
Wow. For me, it is.
I mean, that's what it was.
Have y'all ever watched a game where you weren't sure who was getting the ball to start the second half? I mean, I haven't watched as much football over the years as you guys have. That was the first.
And I missed it, but if I would have been in tune, I'm sure I would have been extremely confused about this.
Just as you are now.
Yes.
Still confused.
I mean, it took Fox it was close to the end of the first quarter before they came back with the audio replay of what he actually said. And I'm going, this is going to be an interesting
only
decision.
in Dallas, man.
Right?
With the Cowboys.
And it was only over the course of halftime before it was resolved in New York.
Yeah.
You know.
Because Mike Pereira said this should get fixed, but no one came out and said it's fixed until halftime.
And by the way, Mike Pereira also said that Walt Anderson did not handle it the way he should have on the field.
I mean, just ask. So are you deferring? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, let's just start from the beginning.
No, I'm not deferring. I want to kick
Because
I got a great defense.
If he says that, then you're kicking off twice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just think about what a disaster that would have been. I mean, they're up 21-7 at the half, but the Rams get it again.
28.
Was it 28-7 at the half?
Remember the interception set up to...
That's right.
Okay, well, regardless.
And
if
you
go down
the
there
blame would have gone on.
But
Jason Garrett?
It would have gone squarely on the shoulders of the head coach.
No question about it.
He can't even get his quarterback out there to say the right thing.
They would call him the Jameis Winston of coaches. He was just all kind of goofy stuff going on.
But how about apparently the Saturday night speech got this team going? The team speech from the head coach.
Oh, I did not know about
players
this
talked about that in
Some
post-game.
sort of baseball team analogy where you have to pick each other up as
complimentary football
game goes along.
Something local is what Jason said on the fan today. It wasn't about the Yankees or the
they
Indians.
asked him. Yeah, and he was mentioning it was more high school. That's what he meant.
Yeah.
So was it one of those Joe Biden talks to where, it got you, but it wasn't necessarily accurate?
Yeah, he wouldn't say. He wasn't going into it. Yeah, they couldn't pull it out of him.
Okay.
So anyway, that's how the game started.
Yep.
How about that?
I am so confused.
And then the kickoff goes out of bounds.
Now, see, first of all, let's not go there. We have a freaking kicker.
Mm-hmm.
All right? I was very impressed with that guy.
That was cold, right?
I was very impressed with that guy. I mean, right down the middle. There was no,
there
just
was no
skirting
fade or
no
anything.
Fade. Bam, true.
That's right. Every time.
Even on the extra points, and that was one of his
He missed one
problems.
at New England a week or so ago.
Yeah,
his
he
only
made one
game
of
this
two.
year.
We were talking before the game. He's got to be the most nervous person in the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
You
Everybody's eyes are on you.
Yeah. Thank God there was an extra point. And I don't know, maybe that's even more pressure these days. Your first kick is an extra point. Would you have rather had that, or would you have rather had him having to hit the 50-yarder first?
Let's get the extra point.
Get the extra
right?
point out of the
hit
way.
from 35.
And see, those are the things. If we don't do well in the red zone, right? Wooden doesn't make the catch.
He's kicking.
He's kicking. You
right?
just never know. You just never know.
And do you realize that the two he made from 42 yards, that was more 40 to 49-yard field goals than they had all season.
Wow.
They only had one.
I think Brett was
Maher was
1 for
5.
5.
1 for 5.
That's why he's not here, honestly, because it's those money kicks. He
has an NFL record, and it got cut.
For 60 plus.
Right.
You know what? But Forbath had.
Hey, that's the first time I think we mentioned his name.
Forbath. Kai Forbath. The kicker. He probably assumes.
Well, we weren't sure how long he's going to be here, okay? So.
You only use their names when they screw up, right? It's like the deep snapper. No one knows who the deep snapper is.
Oh, yeah, we'll know in a minute.
But he said the good thing about this whole deal is he's been in this situation so many times, because when he's been signed by other teams, it's always mid-season taking over for somebody that failed. And he goes, so I'm kind of used to coming in here and getting ready. And
controlled environment helps.
Yeah.
Controlled environment really
and
helps.
he said, and I said, so how did things go? The kicker, the holder, the snapper. He goes, oh, those guys are great. He goes, they were perfect. He goes, and I just put it down and lean it this way, and that's all I asked. Nothing else. And it was kind of Jason's story at a press conference earlier in the week when they had the tryouts in '93 and they brought in like 4 kickers, and Jason said the first 3 guys were like, I got to have the ball this way and kind of cock to the side and back a little. And he says, and then Eddie Murray stepped up. and he said,
Old man Murray.
He said, how do you like it? Eddie said, just put it down.
Just put it down.
Right? That's what I used to hear about extra points.
That's old school.
It didn't matter if the ball's laying flat on the ground. I got to make an extra point, right?
Drew Pearson told me any pass to him is a great pass.
That's right.
Any pass to him is a great pass.
mentality.
So that's just it.
Any pass to Tony Hill is a bad pass.
Well, anytime you don't pass to Tony Hill, he was open. That's one thing you got to know. He's always open.
Which you guys will get a kick out of this. I was interviewing Danny White before the game. We're doing a story on this 40 years since Rodgers' last game. And I said, I'd like to talk to you.
Which was against the Rams?
Yes.
Playoff game. The regular season game against the Redskins.
Game was against the Redskins, which is going to happen again this year. And so I was saying, if I can ask you a couple questions about that. He goes, well, you're not going to ask me about 30 years since I retired? I said, oh, thanks a lot.
All right.
I said, Danny, I'll get it in there, okay?
All right, we continue with more Talking Cowboys in just a moment.
Since 1865, Stetson hats are American-made with pride right here in Texas. And Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Want to show your Texas and team pride too? You can. By purchasing your own Stetson, you can look just like how the flag guys do on field at every home game. Stetson hats, the official crown of all self-respecting Cowboys and your favorite football team. Get yours today in the Stadium Pro Shop or at Stetson.com.
Okay, give me an S. S. Give me an O. O. Give me an S. S. Give me an O. O. What's that spell?
So.
Are we gonna win?
Not if we play like we cheered.
Just okay is not okay. Whether it's cheerleaders or your wireless network, AT&T is America's best wireless network. Best network based on GWS 1 score September 2019.
Essilor is a proud sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys, helping fans see more and do more with our best vision solutions. Our lens technologies reveal a world more beautiful than you can imagine. For a limited time, get the Essilor Next Gen offer. When you buy the latest generation of Transitions lenses with select Essilor lenses, you can choose a second pair of clear lenses for free with qualifying frame purchases. Restrictions apply. Find a participating eye care professional by visiting EssilorUSA.com. Essilor. See more, do more.
So, you're shopping, and that's when you see it. Aisle 23. Dr. Pepper stacked from top to bottom as far as the eye can see. The phrase too good to be true comes to mind, yet there it is. A rich, delicious Dr. Pepper paradise. Wait, did that can of Dr. Pepper just open itself for you? They all are. As if to say, so nice to treat you. And even though it feels weird to talk to a can, you pick one up and say, it's so nice to be treated. Dr. Pepper, so nice to treat you.
Back to Talkin' Cowboys.
Well, if any of you guys are like me and you haven't done all your Christmas shopping,
or any of it,
start today, you need to go to getjackblack.com because they've got free 2-day shipping, meaning if you buy it today, in 2 days it's going to arrive to whoever you're sending a gift. And boy, do they have some great product there. So go to getjackblack.com, use the code SHIPPING, and you'll get free 2-day shipping in time for Christmas. But do it by the 20th of December.
Which is what day? Friday.
Friday?
That's right, Friday.
By Friday.
Because the game's on the 22nd. The game is on the 22nd. That
against the Philadelphia Eagles. The NFC Eastern Division Championship is on the line.
It's a playoff game, as Dak Prescott said last
night.
So
the Cowboys made the playoffs.
For a month. This whole thing's going to come down to Cowboys-Eagles on December 22nd. And here we are.
We probably said that a few weeks ago, I'm sure.
Yes.
It always turns out to be that way, doesn't it?
That's cool. I mean, we put ourselves here. It never should have come down to this.
No, you're right.
And even with the Eagles, the way they're playing, the Eagles remind me of the Cowboys without Zeke Elliott. That's how much hustle Carson Wentz has to exhibit. You know, he's back there just grinding away. I got to give him some credit. He's back there.
He's got a lot of guys missing.
That's what I mean. That's why he's grinding, because just no one's there. He's looking downfield. No one's there. To see his desperation, I can appreciate it. I really can, because, you know, Philly could have phoned it in a long time ago, and they refused to do that. It makes me a little bit nervous.
2 come from behind victories like they've had.
Yeah, makes me a little bit nervous, because their toughness right now, pretty much off the charts.
That's a great point, because they've got something in their gut to still be at this point, and a lot of people were questioning that. I mean, a lot of people have questioned the Cowboys. Same with the Eagles, but people have talked about their locker room being a problem and all this stuff. Well, probably not if they're still giving themselves a chance at this point. And we were at the game in 2008, I think, when it was a playoff play-in game, and 44-6. I know it's a completely different teams and all that, but that crowd up there is going to be rocking.
Oh, yeah.
And you're right. It's going to be a tough environment for Dallas.
The crowd's going to be rocking. They're going to be rocking because it's the Dallas Cowboys. Yep. The Philadelphia Eagles you're going to have guys making plays they've never made in their entire lives, because they're going to be so hyped to play against the Cowboys. That's what you have to fight against. So that confidence that you have right now in the locker room as a Dallas Cowboys team, you're going to have all of that optimism and everything going in there and saying, you know what, I get it. You guys are tough. I know you're desperate. I know you're in a situation that you didn't want to be in, but that's not our problem. We're going to come in here and take care of business. That's got to be their attitude.
I mean, he's throwing his leading receiver, some guy named Ward Jr.
Greg Ward Jr., former quarterback, University of Houston, 2 years ago.
What a play it was.
Right?
What a play it was.
A little fade over the top.
I mean, come
the
on.
shoulder.
He had to have the time. He was under duress. He's throwing back on one foot. He floats it up there. This guy's 5'2". You know, he goes up, and he's this high off the ground.
Come on, he was at least my size.
Yeah, well, that's what I meant.
5'4".
And here he is making a play that he has to make. No excuses when they could have made many of them. So that's why that team, they're making me a bit nervous, because the hatred that they have for us that's already there, that can be extremely motivating.
And they ran the ball well. Sanders had 120-some yards rushing.
And defensively, they gave him as many chances. They gave Carson Wentz as many chances as he needed.
So does anybody want to take a shot at how do you go from giving up 273 yards rushing to 22, 251 less than you gave up in the playoff game? Got any logical reason why that happened?
Well, a little bit of incompetence from the Rams. That always helps. It's almost like what happened to the Cowboys. Defensively, they could not stop the Cowboys' offense. So, therefore, Gurley became obsolete.
It's what happened to Zeke these last couple
I
games.
mean. Yeah. Exactly what I mean. Yeah.
What did he end up with?
He had 11 carries for 20 yards.
But at the outset, the Cowboys
was at the end of the game.
On the touchdown run at the end.
But when the game was still in the balance, they weren't getting anything in the run game.
He had 2 yards at halftime.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, Antoine Woods, man, he stepped up, 5 tackles, 1 for loss, and he had a torn labrum in his shoulder in the playoff game last year.
First quarter, he told me.
Played through it. Clearly wasn't himself, and then they've missed him these last 2 games. I mean, I think he definitely made an impact for him up front.
We talk about the problems with the linebackers. I would imagine Woods heard us. He understood what was going on. If you're going to let these offensive linemen come down on our linebackers and burst that bubble and create those gaps, if you're gonna allow that, then you should be the one to make the tackle as an interior defensive lineman.
If you're getting off,
if you're letting them get off, then you should be the person that should replace that first level, so that the second level won't be a problem in the running game. And he did.
I mean, he had like 3 tackles in the first series.
From an interior lineman, that's dominating. That's Warren Sapp type action there. Yeah. That's saying a lot.
It was Donald action.
Yeah.
It set the tone, and then how many – did y'all see any missed tackles in the game yesterday? I mean,
they were keeping track on the TV.
There was one.
There was 19 against the Bears, and it was 1 in this game.
Wow.
Rest Rest.
Yes.
Rest. Sean Lee felt better. he made all the moves like he always did. This time he finished the plays.
Jason Witten was fresh.
Yeah, Jason Witten could reach out and his arms could extend.
Tony Pollard.
He was warm.
Tony Pollard's
been fresh all year.
Well, he didn't have a sprained ankle.
Yeah, he didn't
Remember,
play
they
against the
missed
Bears.
that. They missed that, I think, badly.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the ability to stop the run, and the only kind of logical answer I could get was we learned what we did wrong in the playoff game, and we made some schematic changes to what no one would say what it was. DeMarcus Lawrence, and I heard this from Rod Marinelli on Friday, and I said something about the run. I thought he was going to bite my head off, but he was really nice, and he goes, it's tempo. He goes, they play at that high tempo, and we got to be on the line of scrimmage, hands down, ready to go. We can't be
sense of urgency.
Waiting, right?
Sense of urgency,
We got to
yes.
be ready to go for them because they might quick snap it or they'll sit there and mill around and change the play. He goes, but we got to be ready to go. And DeMarcus Lawrence pointed it out. He said, high tempo, our tempo had to be as high as theirs.
He said that on Friday, too. He said, we know what they're going to try to do,
right,
and we can't get thrown off balance by that.
Yeah.
Because it's a varied tempo, too. Sometimes it's true hurry up. Sometimes it's kind of a patient tempo, and you just have to be ready for all of it.
I started watching and seeing how many times they do it and see what was going on after the clock hit 15 seconds. And it was like a lot. They changed it a few times, but a few times they hung in there and they didn't change the play. So.
I have to say, I think it's more amazing that we're not even talking about Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
We're not even talking about Jalen Ramsey. We're not talking about any of those guys.
You know what he had at halftime? He had 2 assisted tackles. And then I think he had 1 more solo tackle by the end of the game. So he ended up with 3 total tackles, but 2 were assisted. So those guards in center must have done something.
Total
right,
domination.
Right?
We had total domination on
the
front
one
line.
touchdown.
2 100-yard rushers.
Suafilo caved in to the right side and made a huge hole for Zeke.
If I told you guys before the game that the Cowboys' top 4 wide receivers would have 4 catches for 83 yards, would you tell me that they would have won this game by what? 23
and score 44
it wasn't
points.
that close. It wasn't that close.
It wasn't that close.
Yeah. And one of those catches was 59 yards.
Right.
So it's 3 for what, 20 something?
Yeah. Which, again, from what you saw from the press box, were they doing something to take away downfield? Were they playing more coverage?
They started off with they were doubling with the safety over the top because everybody was kind of trying to give the corner Ramsey credit, and then they showed the replay and they go, oh yeah, but look at the safety where he's at. He's like 5 yards behind.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't all him. And then when they showed the other side, remember the deep ball to Gallup, the free safety rotated over and helped like you should have got help in that Arizona game.
Hey, don't bring that up, man. That's 1989. Stop.
But he filled it in, so you had to drop it in there right over the corner, but before the safety came over, and it didn't work. But they were given help on the outside, and that's when Troy said they're going to have to start using the middle of the field. And so they used Witten, and then they started throwing the little – and it wasn't like dump-off passes to Zeke. They were like on-the-run throws to the outside.
Right.
And that was working. What Zeke had about 150-some total yards, something like that.
3 catches for 43. They got him in the screen game. Blake Yak Jarwin, 2 catches for 40 yards.
Guys. That's my guy. That's my guy. I'm sorry. I love me some Witten, but he is just so explosive, and he eats up yards. Mm-hmm. He eats up yards when he catches the ball.
And we've eaten up time here
already
on Talkin Cowboys.
Nice.
We're going to go. We'll be back again tomorrow, and we'll explore further into these Philadelphia Eagles, the biggest week of the season here at the Star.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?